This is episode something, maybe 4 or 5 of the Amazon Nomads podcast. I have no bloody clue. Welcome. I am here with Seth Baker and Thomas Parkinson.
Hello.
Hello.
Awesome. Seth has a list of things that we want to go through because I have no clue what we're actually going to talk about. Go on, Seth. Do you want to kick it off?
Yeah, these guys are absolutely useless. So I don't really know what Tom and Gav do from day to day, and I do get a few people asking me questions about what I do. So I thought it'd be interesting if all three of us did a little day in the life of what we get up to. So I don't know if Gav or Tom, either of you want to start?
Go on, Tom. You can start.
Mine's really complex. Like, if people want Amazon selling
complex.
day, oh my God.
No, let's just do. So let's give a little context. When I met Tom for the first time, we met in a co-working space in Cancun, and I didn't have a team at this time. I was pretty disorganized. I didn't really have much of a daily routine. And then I peek over at Tom's laptop screen and I see his Google Calendar, and I was shocked. I was taken aback. It was just very shocking because it was just all blocked out perfectly well, and every hour of the day was just like he'd set out time for it. And I almost felt bad that I was like 20 minutes late to meeting him because I realised that time is money for Tom and I was wasting it. So that's a little bit of context about Tom's diary. So if you could maybe divulge a bit more on that.
You know, isn't it?
It's crazy. It's inspiring though. It's inspiring.
Go on, Gavin. Sorry, you're saying?
I was saying you're so organised with your diary, you even know what time you're going to have a poo.
I do have sleep and food in there. I won't lie about that. I think, so the way, to put it in context, is I learned about what's known as time blocking a long time ago. And obviously, like Elon Musk does it if you want to know. So like successful people do it. The very concept is you take a day, 24 hours, and obviously you think about it, you've got things that you want to do. You're always going to have an infinite number of tasks or more tasks than you have time to do it. That's a fact. The next question comes is about, actually, it's really about prioritization. So there are fundamentals in life, and let's call it like you need to sleep and you need to eat. So take your 24 hours and put in the sleep and then put in the eating, and that's cool. And then think about what else you want to do. And like right now, one of the things I'm trying to do is like be a bit more healthy. So let's call it an hour of exercise a day. Fantastic. So put that in there. And then you think about like, once I know that, then like what else do I want to achieve? So if I just talk about a Monday, which is a classic day for me, like Monday will generally start, I think, I've got to get it right. I can check my calendar because I'm Barcelona time. Monday starts about 6:30. So generally I start between 6 and 7 most days. 6 is quite an early start. 7's a nice start. I'm happy when I see 7 a.m.s. So, and by the way, I'm in Mexico, so my team are in Philippines. So Monday would start with, what's it called, like 6 o'clock. And I'm really just going into meetings. And why? Because I've got so many staff. And I'm really just trying to look at so because I've got such big teams, I generally have just like operations meetings. And let's be crystal clear. What do you want? What's the goal? Define it, break it down, and bother measurables and track the measurables. So my operations meetings are measurables. So a Monday is just like half of Monday is all operations meetings across different departments and different things. Generally operations managers, senior managers in the businesses, and we're just looking at how we're performing. And then the rest of my time is spent across maybe like the week would be content development. It could be looking at problems in those operations that I need to spend time on, but also strategic goals that I want to achieve. So it might be like, hey, we want to do a new repricer. Cool. What does that look like? It might, it might be like I need 4 hours over the week that I'm going to spend doing it. So I'm just going to get those 4 hours and plug it into my calendar. So, really, like very simply, I literally kind of, my calendar is my dashboard, like is my kind of like cooking pot, and I'm just slotting in everything that I want to achieve. And I appreciate I don't have enough time. I never do, but like I'm trying to put it in. And, a typical day for me would be like meetings with my team in the morning because I'm in Mexico and the Philippines. I'd probably do it from like 6 a.m. till 10 a.m. Then maybe like some exercise for an hour and a half, and then I'm probably I have like a stuff every day. I have an hour which is called stuff. I just do stuff within your business, like email stuff. I have like 3 businesses, 3 accounts, chat, Facebook, everything else. Get that cleared down, and then you talk about big projects I want to focus on. I'll do them, and maybe reaction stuff, and then after that I'll probably spend some time with my girlfriend, and then after that I'm back into meetings until 10 o'clock at night. So like 8 till 10, my team come back online again, and I'll meet with them again. So I generally have like Tuesday and Friday night evenings a day off. But Monday, Wednesday, Thursdays are with my team in the evening, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I try to avoid Friday because I know it's Friday night for them, but I'll have time with my team then. And really what I'm trying to do, and the way you've got to think about it, is I have leverage. Leverage is people doing things. So if I can spend 1 hour with them and they can go do 10 hours worth of work, that's a winner. So all my time is about moving, using a team to make a lot of work done. And that's it. Does that help, Seth?
That helps incredibly well. Does it stress you out that you can't get everything done? Like, would you call yourself a workaholic? There's 2 questions emotions in one, really.
Does it stress me out? Yeah, I do get stressed, I won't lie. Of course. I've even had alopecia when I was 21 and lost hair at the back of my head. Got it back.
Wow.
But I'd like, and also as well, if I tell you about a cycle, I know this in myself. I work really hard. I get stressed because I'm working too hard. And then I work hard to get the hours down so I can be less stressed. And then I make time in my business so I don't have to work so much. And then what happens is that I then put more work on myself because now I have more free time to do stuff. So it's kind of like a up and down.
Yeah, self-perpetuating cycle.
Do I call myself a workaholic? No, I think I love what I do. I really do. I love it. And I think if you use the label work, then you could say, yeah, but do I spend a lot of time on my passions? Yeah, 100%. Like, that's a better way to put it. You know, Michael Jordan, does he work? Is he a workaholic? Damn right he was. But he loved what he did.
Also seemed like a tyrannical arsehole, but you're definitely not that, Tom. Oh, well, he was hell-bent on winning, wasn't he? He didn't mind stepping on all of his team and being just like really horrible to them as long as it got them the result. And he would get himself really angry and worked up about opponents that he didn't even hate, just because he knew that he'd perform better if he pretended that he hated his opponents, right? So it's like
Again, it comes back to what's your goal? What do you want? Like, I want to have fun, I want to enjoy it, I want to build my businesses, and I love doing that, and that's fun. Like, even if the money isn't so great, like, oh my God, you know, we could go make more money doing something else probably, but like, that's probably not aligned with what I want to do. I enjoy this business that I build.
Yeah, I agree. I don't do this for the money, but the money does really help. But like,
I did it for the money to start with, let's not deny that.
Yeah.
So, but we got to a point where the money's really good, now we have the freedom, the quality of life. You know, I'm not saying like, we're all like saying like, no, fuck, of course I like the money and I want the money, but like, I've also taken decisions within the business that I've chosen not to go down certain routes where we could have got more money because it wasn't who I wanted to be. I didn't need that more money. I have enough to enjoy the quality of life I need.
I think that's a very good point you made as well. It's like, you want to make money that aligns with your value. You don't want to break your own value.
Don't sell out
for money. You want to always be congruent with yourself, whether it's online, in person. Like, the second you start creating a fake persona, it's like, people will catch on and you probably go downhill from there. Or you won't truly be happy.
They can see it a mile off.
Yeah.
But one more point to make on Tom's lifestyle, I just want to, as an outsider, put in. You've kind of painted a picture that you work incredibly hard, and you do, and it's inspiring. But people also need to realise that Tom does set aside time for socialising, going for beers, hanging out with his girlfriend. There's plenty of time for that. So don't go thinking we're all, well, Tom or either of us, any of us, promoting the really like hustle hard, Gary V like lifestyle. I'm not about that. I'm pretty sure you guys aren't either. Like, hey, Tom gets plenty of fun time in alongside the work.
How was your Mexican Independence Day, Tom?
It was good fun. We got absolutely hammered. I fell asleep on the floor in my apartment. My girlfriend was not happy with me. But to put it this way, like, to give you an idea, obviously I run 3 companies, one 3.5 million, one $1 million in the US, and now, you know, Fast Track FBA. But also as well, this year alone, I've got 52 nights in Marriott hotels. I've just hit platinum status. I've literally just come back from 2 weeks away in Orlando, Ibiza, and Barcelona, which I really enjoyed. I've traveled like more than I've ever traveled in my life. And I think the real question comes is, you know, and come back to time blocking and time management, is the fact that like, how many times have you like had a busy week, but when you reflect on it, you're like, man, how much time did I managed to spend 4 hours a day on Instagram on my phone? Or like, there's so much time in the day. And I think also as well, if you're very mindful about how you spend that time, like, it can be really important. And so for me, and the typical way I like to do it is that I have kind of like 3 weeks of insanely hard work. Then I have a week of like travel and relaxation and do something else. But like, I don't mind working 14, 15 hours a day on a day. You know, I'm probably doing 2 weeks worth of work than what a normal person would do, because I know that in 1 week's time, I'm going away and I really want to enjoy that time. But also as well, I don't want my business to fail because I'm off. So, you know, that's the kind of mindset I have about it. And I think you can live an incredible life if you're just very intentional. Time blocking helps with this, with how you spend your time.
Yeah, you have coffee mode and beer mode.
Damn
That's
right.
what I like to call it.
Damn right.
Work hard, play hard. That old cliche.
So what about you?
Say something else not forgotten.
What about you, Gavin? Tell me about your day.
Well, I don't think my day is definitely nowhere near as structured as yours. Let me just open my calendar and have a look what it was like on Monday. Because Monday was.
Do you use your calendar? Like, do you do time blocking?
Yeah, I do, but not for all the days. I get like all the important stuff done during the start of the week, and then my time blocking kind of fizzles out towards the end of the week.
Why?
I think I give myself too much time to do tasks, and I do all the tasks for like 2 days in 1 day, and then I move like Wednesday to further down, and then I just have so much more free time.
And hey, the one thing I say, like, if I think about it in like a bigger picture, in life you have hopes, dreams, and ambitions.
Yeah.
Things that you want to get done. So if you define them and break them down, you can break them all down into like, you know, hopes, dreams, and ambitions per year, per month, and per week. And then you've got actions to achieve them. And then what's really interesting, and by the way, hopes, dreams, and ambitions can be travel. Like, it can be really travel. It can be like go, do fun stuff. It doesn't have to be work. And what I really think about is like, I know what you're saying. Like, you're really intentional in the first part of the week and then it kind of fails. What's really interesting is understand that human behavior, and that's your behavior. It's like, why not be intentional about, right, I've got Thursday and Friday this week. I want to do some cool stuff. What would cool stuff look like? What are my hopes, dreams, and ambitions? And I think, you said it, we talked off air, you're going to go for a walking tour around the pyramids in Mexico City, which is absolutely fantastic.
So I have
and you're like, cool.
I just don't put it in the diary. I really
put it in the diary.
Yeah. So I have a full day today, but I just haven't put it in the diary. It's like I know what's happening. In terms of the type pattern,
I'll tell you one thing. When I was single, I used to put my dates in the diary.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
That's so organized. I should do that.
So organized.
I should.
Because then also, so you're like, okay, I'm here. Where do I need to be at what time? Fine.
Not so you can have multiple dates during the day.
Good thing to do.
Gavin, if you want to do that, you're more than welcome.
Okay.
Carry on.
Anyway. So my schedule is like I get up about 5 a.m. So I haven't had a hangover in 3 weeks. So my body started waking up between 4:30 and 5:30, which is really annoying. Except 2 days ago I woke up at 2:30 a.m. I forced myself back to think that's too early.
That's quick.
It was just like wide awake. I went to bed at like 9 p.m. though. Maybe I need to go to bed later. So gym at about
that's too early.
6 a.m. Get back around 7, 8, and then I'll either have a call with some of the VAs or I'll work on do some planning for social media like Twitter or my Discord group. Also releasing a YouTube channel that gets released today, and I'm also creating another course as well. So there's a lot of work that I have going around.
What's the YouTube channel called?
Pardon?
What's the YouTube channel called? Give it a shout out.
Amazon Nomad. This is Amazon Nomad. The YouTube channel is Amazon Nomad.
So if anyone's... that's a bit cheeky. Like, you've got... Yeah, like...
How dare you?
People create a YouTube channel called Amazon Nomad with a Z.
How does that work? Because we're releasing this on YouTube as well.
No, I think we should call this Digital Dogs.
Digital Dog. I don't know how it works. I haven't exactly named the YouTube channel yet. And we haven't even created a YouTube channel for this one yet, have we?
We're waiting for Seth to edit it. But the reason why I asked is because I thought this was called Amazon Nomads. And then the idea is like, if your own personal one's called Amazon Nomads, like...
Amazon Nomad. It's missing the S.
Oh my God. As he said in the court of law.
We need a new name.
Or maybe Gavin needs a new name.
I'll change my YouTube name. I don't know what to call it yet.
We could be FBA
Amazon Freedom. Amazon Freedom.
You've already done 4 YouTube. You've already done 4 recordings calling us Amazon Nomads.
Yeah, okay.
Why doesn't Gavin
FBA
change?
Nomads.
My YouTube channel is now called Amazon Freedom Fighters. Amazon Freedom Fighters. Sounds more cheesy.
Freedom Amazon.
Done. You can change it as many times as you want anyway.
Amazon Life.
Fine.
Oh, Amazon Life makes sense. Or Amazon
Life, yeah. Amazon Freedom Life. Freedom Amazon Life Freedom.
There you go.
We went completely away from the main topic here.
Yeah, what's the rest of your day?
Most of my time is spent around, social media, planning for it, doing videos, content creation, reaching out to people, doing stuff like this, and running my own Discord group as well. Then in terms of my main actual business, it's like we're looking at data and we're focusing heavily on replenishments and eliminating any potential bad products. We have a plan for Q4, and a lot of it has been bringing on new employees, setting new KPIs and weekly support plans for each employee. So all the business structure related stuff is coming into implementation. Even things as simple as building a company onboarding document with their key expected outputs for the first month or the first 3 months. So a simple thing like that. It's more turning my business into a organization that's managed by results, outcomes, KPIs, all that jazz. That's where a lot of my time on my main USA business is going. Then in the evening, same as Tom, having calls with the VAs, making sure they're okay, company calls, that kind of stuff. And that's kind of the very high level overview of how my week goes. I use Sunday for planning though. I either do my planning on Sunday or Monday, same as my tweets. A lot of my tweets on Twitter scheduled on the Sunday or Monday. So I like to schedule about a week's worth of tweets, and I'll just sit there, do some tweet ideas, or I'll block in some time to learn how to tweet better or learn how to do videos better. So a lot of what I do is a lot of learning.
That sounds productive.
I've also got it in the diary, Seth, to send my birth certificate to your place and my bank cards. So
do it.
Organised, kind of.
Hopefully they don't get lost.
I hope not. That would be a pain.
And so let me ask you a question. When you talk about time, what do you do outside of work?
The honest answer, I date a lot. If I want to explore, it's always on a date with some chicks. Then I party sometimes.
Not just one chick. Not just one chick.
No. One chick at a time. Then I like to explore, gym. What else? I definitely do work a lot, but I also like to party as well. As we mentioned, I've got the Teotihuacan, however you call it, the big temple ruins of sun, moon, light, darkness, whatever on the weekend. That's going to be super cool.
That party?
No, that's the exploration.
It's the pyramids, isn't
Okay.
it?
Yeah.
The pyramids, yeah.
Then let's say on the Sunday, I don't know, maybe another day. We'll have to see. Whenever I'm going to go see a new restaurant, it's always like, I'm either going to invite you, Tom, or I'll invite some girl. And I'm also going to Thailand soon as well. So I think there's going to be a lot more to explore in Thailand. That's going to be so bloody sick.
You're right. You're on an island, though, so it's going to be busy, but not as busy as Mexico City. Mexico City's like, Mexico City's great. I think you've come to a great place.
Yeah. But it's Thailand. It's like exploring the jungle.
You're in Koh Samui.
Pretty crazy, though.
No, it's in Koh Samui.
Pardon?
You're in Koh Samui.
Yeah, Koh
in Thailand.
Samui.
So it's not big. Like you could drive around it in probably about 45 minutes.
Yeah, it's tiny.
But the main Airbnb's in Koh Samui. So if we want, we can just leave. I can just leave the area and go somewhere else because it's so cheap. Like it is just ridiculously cheap to do anything in Thailand.
It's not an area; it's an island.
Yeah, but I can get a boat somewhere else.
So, yeah.
Of a plane. Can you get planes of a plane or like a helicopter?
I don't think there are planes. I think it's boats to Koh Samui.
No, there are. There's an airport.
Oh,
You
cool.
can get a flight to Chiang Mai.
Oh, go there. You'll like that.
Everyone keeps mentioning Chiang Mai, but I got a week in Bangkok and then to Koh Samui, and then from Koh Samui maybe I'll just go
That's too long in Bangkok.
Koh Samui would kind of be like the home base.
You got an apartment for a month, haven't you? In
Yeah.
Koh Samui? That's when he's going to stop dating and start working.
We'll see both.
Oh, hey, well done. Good. And I think well done for traveling and seeing something new. Definitely, live life, enjoy it. You'll love Thailand.
It sounds
It's amazing.
bad though, but
Just take a lot of shorts.
I'm actually as equally excited for the flight than I am for bloody going to the Thailand itself, which is insane. I'm curious what a business class Qatar Airways flight is like. It's gonna be so sick.
I'm yet to find out.
It'll be good. It'll be good. Right, Seth. What are your thoughts? You've asked us the question. What are your thoughts?
Just
and what about you?
before we go on to my day today, I just wanted to dig in a little bit deeper on Gav, what you said about you're focusing quite heavily on the US side of the business on making your. It sounds like you're trying to make your business into more of a machine that's bigger than you that doesn't require you. Is that what you're saying? And if so, can you just give us maybe a couple of examples of what you've done recently or something that you're working on that is making that happen?
So, for example,
just to put you on the spot.
So yeah, I mentioned that we have a company onboarding document now, and then in addition to that, we have about 7 or 8 sourcing videos explaining how I source and then the sort of sourcing metrics that we have. Then I've also got our best sourcer to do a whole bunch of live sourcing, but then capture that live sourcing. So when we have a new team member join us, they have this whole bunch of videos, training material. Their targets is already predefined in this document. Then we've created the weekly support calls documentation. So every Monday, the purchase manager has a call with all of the team members individually, go through their support plan, and then that gets presented to me because I then do his call. On top of that, I'm looking at creating a system for replenishments as well. That's something I'm heavily involved in. The reason why I don't have that yet is because I'm new to the niche. I wanted to go very wide and just get as much different products as possible, and then eliminate all the bad products, and then we can go deep onto that. So we're building out a system at the moment to work on that.
But by bad products, do you mean ones that are going to give you IP complaints, or just ones that have made you money, or ones with high returns?
Ones that have too high return rates, basically. Because I'm in shoes, right? Some shoes have between a 20 and 55% return rate, and you honestly can't tell. It's like 4.6 stars on Amazon, 50% return rate. It makes no sense. Or it'll be other stuff such as we got the Q4 plan, and then so I don't do the weekly calls anymore with the team. My purchase manager does that, and then he reports back to me on that as well. So from my side of the point, it's really trying to get it to run as an organization. But if you're running it as a business, as an organization, then that's something that can become much bigger than yourself, and that's what I want. From my learning experience over the past 1.5 years of managing VAs now, my key weakness is I've always been too lenient in terms of letting them go, being more strict. So, but the weekly support plan has helped eliminate that. So as a person, I'm getting a lot stricter and a lot more clear about how I handle the VAs, but still in a very nice way. Because that's kind of the stuff I've been working on recently. So replenishments, return rate isolation. Because I've been doing Amazon for a while now. I already have a lot of experience. It's learning the new stuff that's required for the shoe niche, basically.
Yeah, you're just sharpening your tools in the new niche, as you say. which is hopefully what I'm going to be doing very soon. So if we go into my data, I'm not going to do a day today. I'll just do like what I do in the week over the course of the week, because each day can be very varied. But I will do similar to you, Gav. I'll have a team meeting every Monday, but actually that's every fortnight now, because we don't usually actually have that much to talk about. And I will talk to my operations manager and purchasing manager once every 2 weeks as well. And like any ad hoc calls on top of that with the team if they want to like talk about anything. But my day to day generally is just that I'll do that in my week, and then I'll spend a lot of time on the chat software that I use, just answering questions from my admin VA or speaking to anyone who's asking me questions or putting stuff in the chat. And other than that, because I've set up like the processes and systems over the last 4 years, well, over the last year and a half of the team, but I don't have that much to do day to day. And that's why I did mention in a previous podcast that I'm starting a new business, LLC, selling shoes on Amazon. I'm following suit of Gavin. So my day to day is probably going to change quite a lot over the next few weeks. I'm currently waiting for my EIN, but I assume it's just going to be a bit more of the same, right? I'm going to be building a team, I'm doing all the admin, setting up bank accounts, making sure they're sourcing effectively. But once all that's done, it's going to be like just have it. Well, it's like you do, Tom, right? Like you've got 2 teams. I've seen your Instagram post where you've got an all hands meeting. I guess I'm just going to be doing what I'm currently doing, but with shoes, right? And that's the beauty of this business model, is that once you've set everything up, you don't necessarily need to work that hard, work that long. I'll also talk to, I've got a developer who like makes software for me and like makes my job a whole lot easier, makes the business grow. So I speak to him often, and this is actually something I wanted to ask you guys. This brings me on to that. So this week, so Tom, you've obviously got the USS sheet, right? And the problem with the USS sheet bookseller is that there's too many ASINs and different SKUs that we can't, that the API calls, it's just too much to handle on a Google sheet. So I've found out I found a workaround for that, right, via Inventory Labs, which I've just found out about over the last 2 days. Very happy about it, because it means I can actually calculate how much money each of my VAs are making. And the thing is, it was very easy to find. It was like, it's a report in Inventory Labs that I didn't realize existed, which is just stupid of me. But I've been able to filter data into a certain column, which shows me which VA bought that book, how much profit we've made. And from here on out, I'm going to be able to actually give accurate bonuses. So I'm currently very happy about that. But the thing is, it was such an obvious thing, right? And I found over the last 4 years in business, some of the biggest breakthroughs and like growth periods of my business have been really simple, and it's almost like the opportunities have been there for either a really long time or they're really obvious. But for some reason, it took me ages to actually recognize them. Have either of you have you found that before and noticed that? Have you found that your breakthroughs have been difficult or easy? I'm interested to hear your thoughts.
If you want to, like, the one thing that there's a story I read once that was like, what makes the special forces better than the regular army? And it was someone said it wasn't any special training. It's just that they did the basics really, really well to a much higher standard. And they have more time on the range, they're more time shooting, so that when they do the advanced stuff, they don't really need to think about it. They don't need to worry about the basic stuff because they just know it. It's muscle memory. The one thing which I kind of really see in business is just do the basics, but just do them really, really well. Like, and the funny thing is business isn't particularly hard, but we're just really bad at doing the fundamentals of business consistently. What we keep trying to do is find the new shiny object or the new thing which we think is going to solve the problem, or the shortcut or the hack. And really, it's like, look, it's not very hard. Have a sourcer who's going to find X amount of products which should make X amount of money. Measure, buy those products. Measure that you're actually making the money you thought you were going to make, and then just repeat that business. And all you're doing is building systems, and like just be very systematic and process driven. The problem is it's really boring. And as entrepreneurs, we like to create new stuff. We're like exciting people. We're exciting, and business is just inherently boring once you understand it, systematize it. So, my breakthrough is the fact that keep it simple, stupid. And you know what? I'm the stupid one, which is exactly what you're saying. Like, what are the real fundamentals? What do we need to do? By the way, this isn't like rocket science. Everyone talks about this in every single business. Have a model, have a plan, stick to it, and that's it. And then just go through.
Yeah, I just found it crazy because this was all I needed to know was how my inventory management software worked, what it offers. So all I needed to do was read, say, all of the help articles on it, which I obviously didn't do, and just to have basic spreadsheet knowledge. So I'm pretty sure most people, like most normal functioning humans, have got the capability of doing that. But for some reason, it took me ages to find that out. and I'm sure it would be similar for other people.
I'll tell you something, like just on a side note, if you kind of really think about what you're saying, it isn't what you did. Like that was the solution, but what you realized was that you had a good question. The question is how much money are my VAs making? Once you realized the right question, then you could go out and find the answer. And actually, that you could probably find that answer a lot quicker just by asking a big audience, like lots of Amazon groups. Hey guys, how do I find this out? How do I find that? And someone would say, try Mentor Labs. You're like, cool, figure it out. Thank you so much. But it really comes down to the question first, like really thinking about what do I need to know as a business owner? What are the answers I need to have every single week, every single month, every single year to make sure this business is profitable? And that's it. Like ask the right question, change your life. Change your question, change your life.
Yeah, that's a Tony Robbins thing, isn't it? It's like in Unleash the Power Within. I think he mentions that quite strongly. It's like ask really good questions. But he's got loads of books, but that particular book and that actual passage of that book really stuck with me because it's like it is all about the questions you're asking in life, which will enhance it.
Yeah, agreed. Go on, Gavin.
Wait, go on what?
What you're like, you talked about like Seth asked like also like the one like do you find it simple that learning or like is it easy or is it obvious?
Like with the printers for you, Gav, like was that something that just came naturally to you? Because that was something that clearly propelled you forward, or was that luck? Do you think was that hard work just through like lots of keep analysis, or what do you think that was?
Well, that was like me using sourcing software initially, getting bored of it, trying to work out how to source myself. And then it was a question of what do people want. And the first thing that came to mind was printers, because everyone's working from home. I looked at printers, they were doing absolutely insane. And then what was super strange, I discovered by luck that flight controllers were doing ridiculously well as well. It wasn't just printers, there was so many gaps in markets that there was sewing machines too. Sewing machines, printers, flight controllers, like all these random things. I said that the flight controller is pretty random. But yeah, but that wasn't, I wouldn't say the printers wasn't luck, that I was intentionally looking for something during the period of COVID, but there was intention behind that for sure.
That's interesting.
Here's a challenge.
Okay.
How do you find those types of niches when you then have a team and you're like mostly out of it? Because I find that, yes, the team is very competent. The reason we're successful is because of the level of creativity that we had to make that happen. And you can't push the same ideas that you had onto somebody else. That's like your way of thinking. You probably can to a degree.
So could you do something like Google does? One day a week is like non-sourcing day. You have to find something else. Like, let's say, for example, you're sourcing shoes. Google does it whereby every Friday, I think it is, it's called like work on your own project day. Like they give you 20% of the time you can work on whatever you want. Like there's no restrictions, no requirements. Yeah. The only thing is if it comes profitable, then Google own it. Something like that. So the concept comes is like, could you have it whereby like let's say for example, Gavin, you're doing shoes. Is it the case that right every Friday we're not going to track it, we're not going to do anything, but what we are going to say is I want you to find who can get the highest profit product, which isn't a shoe. And then the idea is your team got the whole day to go out and find one product, and every month you're going to go back and look at what products sold really well. And what you're trying to look for is those needles in haystacks. Because if you find that, oh my God, this game controller did really well, is that another niche we can go into?
Yeah.
And maybe
that sounds like a really good idea.
Yeah, just find out.
Because like you might have VAs that are really passionate about like beauty products, right? Or printers, right? So then they're going to be working a lot harder sourcing those products because either they have an edge because they've got knowledge of it, or they just enjoy sourcing it more. So that sounds like a good tactic to. And as you say, it's not like you're putting any stress on them. You're actually just giving them kind of a fun opportunity. I'm gonna do that, I think.
You would have to adjust your KPIs though to match that and lower the target. You'll lose a day.
Seth, don't do it. Don't do, maybe in your books, but I wouldn't do it. I would just get your shoe business running first.
Yeah.
Get that systematized running, and then do something like that.
So absolutely, yeah. That's something to throw into the mix after.
What's worked for super well for us though is more that because my keep analysis is pretty good, so we cast quite a wide net, and then from those items that we source, I'm able to find like the quite unique items we can like have a play. So it's not something that the VAs have realized that you can do this type of move, but it's something that I would look at and realize we would do it. For example, it's like James Charles Palace last year during Q4. I bought hundreds of them, like probably up to almost 1,000 across a few different ones in I think it was either September or October, and there's only selling 6 units per month. But I seen that in the previous Q4, the BSR was like absolutely insane. So I bought all the units out, so I bought all the stock out. I kept the price really high so I could scare people away because the sales was so low. And then as we got closer to Q4, I then dropped the price and then made like 80 to 100% ROI in every single unit. I made like $3 or $4 grand from 3 products. It's like
nice.
how do you train that to a VA? 'Cause it's such a specific outcome. It's like,
But I guess
it's the ability to identify opportunities.
so to be put it the way, like that's an interesting thing. So what I would probably think about that is that's really like think about like what do we do? Buy low, sell high. That's like a model, isn't it? So you teach that model to your sources.
Yeah.
So the next one I'd think about is like what you just talked about. Then was another model. So you teach that to another source, and then what do? You get them to go away looking for that types of opportunity. But
like,
you understand.
But
Your KPIs would be very different in how you structure that.
You want to get opportunities like that. It's like I'd rather have them sourced normally, but if they spot something like that, then great. You kind of you spotting like an opportunity there, but then you're going to make a play because you're keeping all the stock to yourself, and then so no one else can buy it. You keep the prices high, so if someone else does buy it, or if they look at that product, they're put off from that listing, and then as it's the right time to sell, you bring the price down and then sell all of yours. At that point, it's almost too late for many sellers to get onto that listing. But it's not just like spotting that opportunity. There's like a move or a play that you have to do on Amazon itself as well to make that happen.
I do agree on it, but I do come back to the point. I think you need to have someone who maybe is that play person. You think about like in American football, you have like the linebacker. That's all they do. But I do think that you like what you're probably now talking about is like you need to have a team of a certain size, which would facilitate being able to accommodate someone who can do that role. If you're just going to get started, like you wouldn't have your first EA doing that technique. It wouldn't be viable. So it's levels to the game. Should we say?
You need a mature team, is what you're saying. Like you can't just create an innovator out of nowhere.
No, I don't think so, because Gavin's talking about it's basically a framework, isn't it? Like it's a model of how you're looking for this behavior in Keeper, and then also supply you can buy a lot of, and then once you see that, this is what we're going to do. So you're just teaching someone that model. It's a different model of selling. So I'm not saying they have to be an experience, but what I am saying is because the model's different and it requires you holding inventory, buying large amounts of inventory. It's not the typical buy low, quick sell high. It's a different model. So the idea comes is that you'd probably want to have, let's call it 10 normal VAs, and you might have one that's doing that model.
Yeah.
And the reason is because you can cash flow them.
You would need someone who's very analytical to do that. Like, ideally, you want them to have a maths degree. that would be helpful.
No, there's a really you can do what's known as Tony Robbins disc assessments. They're free.
Yeah.
And if you go get your team to do all Tony Robbins disc assessments right now, you'll find one of them comes back as the I don't know what it's called. They have a certain thing.
Assessments.
DISC, dominance.
Oh, disc assessments.
Yeah, DISC. It's like dominance, independence, something, and then compliance.
Right.
They're like a personality profile test, and one of them is like very data driven, very analytical. My pricing analyst is it. So I was like, ooh, I like that.
Like the way I've seen it, or the way I've done it so far is like, what's your favorite method of sourcing? If anyone says keep a product finder, I'm like, okay, you're a very analytical person. You like maths.
Yeah, fine. Does it work?
That's a good answer. Yeah. But so it sounds like Gav, I don't know if I'm speaking for you, but my worry, I guess, is that if I exited my business tomorrow, it would carry on as it is for a while, but it would probably peter out and stagnate and get smaller. It wouldn't grow. Like I feel like I'm the catalyst for it growing because I'm the one like hiring a developer who's making me a bespoke sourcing software. I'm the one who's sending looms to teach the team further on like more advanced topics and stuff like that. So how do you build a team that is going to do what I'm doing? And I'm kind of trying to solve that at the moment. Is that the same as you're thinking, Gavin? Or
yeah, because I've gone down from 5 years to 3. I just released another one today. If I have to tell a VA something over and over again, or if they explain it to me like what I asked them, and it makes sense, but the people making the same mistake, I'm very quick to like let that person go, especially if they're not meeting KPIs as well. So I've gone down to 3 VAs. I've got another VA joining next week. But I think for us to get to that size, get to that point, we need a bigger team where we can delegate more roles. Because as a business owner, we are typically very flexible people. We hop between so many different things at once. You can't really, like from experience, like some people can do that, some VAs can do that, but it's not necessarily the best thing for them to do that because you're just throwing them around. Now, I do have an absolutely exceptional VA who does do the hiring for me or helps me hire. He does the interviews. He does all that weekly one-to-ones, and he seems to understand the overall business operations, but he's the purchase manager. So yeah, definitely, if I just completely stepped away, over time it would definitely fizzle out. I don't know how long that would be. Maybe it's like 2, 3, 4 months, but I'm quite happy being involved in the business. I enjoy it a lot, and I probably do like between 7 and 10 hours work at the moment per week on Amazon USA.
Yeah, I'm the same. I do enjoy doing it, but if I scaled the shoes up to a bigger size than books, and I was making more profit on book and shoes, then I'm obviously going to put my focus on shoes, and then I'd be worried that I'm neglecting books. But that is a nice problem to have for the future that I will solve when I want to.
Yeah, I think
Tom?
I thought about this like a year and a bit ago. That's why I hired my ops manager. So like we have like, to give you an idea, my business is run with the purchasing manager. He runs the business, but my ops manager is the me. So the ops manager is the person who is holding the purchasing manager accountable, talking about what's going on. Like I'm doing the stuff that I would do. So like calling prep centers, calling suppliers, managing like other bits that the purchasing manager doesn't do. Because I really want the purchasing manager to like focus on purchasing. I kind of talk a bit off piece, but like the one thing which I've listened through from the grapevine quite a lot is like, and that I thought about is like, why don't you go and hire another Amazon seller as your ops manager on a year contract? Like, pay them like, it might be like, look, I'll pay you $2,000 a month and I expect you to make way more money than that for me in profit. But if you make more than that in profit, like call it, if you're making $10,000 a month in profit, I'll pay you 20% of the profits every month thereafter. And the idea is they're going to be the things. And then the idea is that 1 year later, maybe they're going to quit and make their own business, but they've probably got the drive to do it. That's a really interesting thing. So I'm still kind of umming and ahhing about it. I don't know the situation, but like I think it's a very valuable proposition.
Yeah, that's interesting.
No, I think that's a great idea. I think my alternative to that would be if once I scale shoes up to 7 figures, I was thinking about maybe hiring a really shit hot intelligent grad, because you don't have to pay them a huge salary, like who I would take to WeWork with me and we'd work one-on-one for however long it needed to because obviously everyone can learn Amazon, right? If I can find someone who is ambitious and eager to learn and enjoys Amazon and enjoys the arbitrage and business model, then I think that's a cool option, because you could probably pay them, like start them on 30k a year or maybe less plus bonus, whatever, similar to what you were saying. And then that could be a solution potentially, because some of these grads that come out of university are going to be very hardworking, very diligent, and probably a lot more intelligent than me. So they could end up growing a business much more than I currently am. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'd just be a bit. Also, the other one I'd be a bit mindful of is like they might get the Gavin Sweeney part of it and what you do in books, and like they know the technical aspect of it. There's a very big difference between technical and people skills. That's a big challenge. It's leadership.
Yeah, you need the whole package.
Yeah, and that's why like generally you kind of look for people with more experience. You might do it two ways. You might like hire two people. You might hire someone who's on the retirement age to do the leadership side, and then you might hire a fresh grad to do the technical analysis and keeps the VAs on top of it. And you talk about how do you find the new stuff. The grad does it.
Yeah, it takes time to learn the leadership skills. There's a lot to learn. It's like a lot of semantics and different levels to it, for sure. And you got to fuck up.
Yeah, true. It's a fun problem to solve, I think. So we've been going 45 minutes. Do we want to call it quits there and focus on Q4 next week? So we should be talking about Q4 at some point, shouldn't
we? Yeah. Oh, we should
We've got to be doing that next
at
week,
some point, mate.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to get hold of her, all right?
What's she
going to be watching this, so...
You should actually edit them.
No, I got locked out of my Facebook account, didn't I? And then I was using Messenger until last week, and then finally it's locked me out. So I've not got her as a friend on my new one. So I'm waiting for her to contact me.
Can you find her?
So I'm sure. Yeah, no, I found her. I've messaged her, but it might go into her requested inbox, so she might not look at it. And I've not got her email. I've not got her email. I don't think. I might have her email. Either way, she's working on it.
Pay her like a $1 bill on TransferWise. On the reference, just put contact me. Check your spam inbox.
No, I think I've got her email. I'll be able to contact her. She'll get back to me. It's all right.
It would be good if we get one of these episodes out in the next 2 years.
Patience pays. Patience pays.
I like it.
Well, it doesn't mean we can release them all at once. That'd be pretty cool. Like 4 or 5 episodes at once.
Well, that's what they actually say that. Like when I watch podcast courses and stuff, they say you should release at least 4, because then if people really like number 1, they can then binge on the next 3, and then they're hooked, which hopefully people will be. But that's yet to be seen, obviously.
What have we talked about on this channel? We talked about traveling, flights, points, ladyboys, dating, Amazon.
We didn't talk about ladyboys. Gavin just wants to talk about them. That's
just in your head.
On the second episode, you was making jokes about ladyboys with Seth. I don't know what. I can't remember what.
I think that was off air.
Was it off air?
But now you've let the cat out of the bag.
Was it off air?
Well, it's on there now. It's on there now. No, that's staying in.
You can just edit that out then.
We should leave on some sort of one top tip each for something. But I'm not sure what.
My top tip: look up time blocking.
True. My top tip is read Unleash the Power Within.
My top tip is don't get lazy with time blocking.
That is a cop out.
And on that cop out, we're going to call it a day.
I'm referencing myself there because I'm going to do like the first half of the week.
Right, on that cop out, we're going to leave it there. Stay safe, everyone.
All
Bye.
right, cheers all. Bye bye.
Thanks for listening. Subscribe and all that jazz.